Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you guys back for another Worry-Free Wednesday with Miss Ellie. Now, today for our 11th session, I really wanted to focus on parenting and stress, how those two things correlate, how they work together and against each other. And I think that this topic is especially important to talk about and discuss right now just because of COVID. And there are a lot of parents who are feeling that stress because they don't have the ability to go to work anymore. They're stuck at home all day and your typical routine has changed in every facet. So I really just want to discuss just ways that you guys can help lower that stress level as a parent, some tips for that as well. And at the very end, I'm going to provide a cool little video that just sort of summarizes ways that you can help stay relaxed during your day. So the first piece I really want to discuss is the self-care piece. I love this little quote here: give yourself the same care and attention that you give to others and watch yourself bloom. I say this all the time to the parents that I work with. You really can't pour out of an empty cup. So you really need to take care of yourself first. It's really hard to take care of others if you're not loving on and taking care of yourself. So I just want to reinforce the importance of that and why today I'm hoping to give you guys some skills for being able to take care of yourself. So I really want to start at like the base level of what self-care is, what it might look like to you. This is something that has been around since I think the 1930s. You might have heard of it in one of your psychology classes, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Widely discussed as really one of the most profound psychological theories that really reflects the universal needs of society, of people. It's really that model for that motivation that comes from within us. And there's a lot of debate, you know, if I don't have my physiological needs, things like food and shelter, am I able to provide things like friendship, intimacy? So I love looking at that in a different way and just sort of getting people in the zone of thinking about what taking care of oneself really looks like from a historical and scientific perspective. So I wanted to take that more scientific perspective, like I said, and make it a little more holistic and amenable to families. And so this is sort of a broken down version of that, really breaking down your overall health as a person in all these different 5 areas. So obviously the physical is going to be how well your body functions on a day-to-day basis. Some of those things are going to be, you know, the way that you eat, how active you are. If you tend to avoid, you know, chemical substances, things like drugs and alcohol, as well as if you're getting a good quality of sleep. Those are all physical components. So we've got the emotional side of it, which is really, you know, how I feel psychologically. Am I feeling secure with my emotions? Am I able to express them in a healthy way? Can I understand what my emotions are to be able to move forward and make changes? Just some things like that. Now, mental, again, this is a little bit different. This is more about how I feel about myself. That self-esteem, that confidence, my ability to be able to cope in those stressful moments, as well as just being productive on a daily basis. That is all part of that mental and brain health. Next up is social. You know, this is not just friends. This is our relationships with family and coworkers, all the adults and people around us in our daily life. It's not only that, it's that ability and that desire to be able to communicate your needs and your thoughts as well. And finally, the spiritual aspect of holistic health. Now, this can come in many different forms. Spiritual doesn't necessarily have to mean religion. It can be forms of relaxation, those breaks that you take during your day, you know, maintaining those set of values that you try to live by, as well as looking for just a deeper meaning in your life and a purpose. Research has really shown when people have a deeper meaning and a purpose in their life, they're able to really function better on a daily basis. So again, I put that information first because I really did want to strike home the importance of self-care. You really have to start with yourself and taking care of your own self before you have the ability to successfully take care of others in your life. So the next step here is balancing. Being a parent, managing a job, maintaining a home, and having a social life, that can be a really difficult juggling act to do successfully. The pressure of work and the guilt of parenting can really lead to a lot of stress. So finding this balance between work life and personal life is another way that you can nurture your own needs while also caring for your children and for your career. So when you take your shoes off at the front door after a long day, I want you to pretend that you are sort of taking off your work persona with those shoes when you do that. Maybe turn those phone notifications from work off. Try to leave those stresses from work, those anxieties, when those shoes are off. Try to leave all of those thoughts to come back when you put those shoes back on the following morning. Your kiddos really tend to, and you might have seen this in many different ways, but they tend to mirror your mood. So keeping that in mind when you are feeling stressed from work and you're having a hard drive home, maybe trying to put on a couple of your favorite songs and blasting those just to be able to get those stress levels out and be able to cope. So this piece here, I really just want to talk about, it is about quality over quantity when it comes to interactions with your child. As a working parent, there's a lot of guilt associated with that. Providing for a family and offering stability, really those are essential parts of being a working parent. It's not about the quantity of the time that you spend. Your child is not going to remember the number of interactions that you had, but they're going to remember how they felt and what they did with you during those interactions. So keep that in mind and give yourselves a break if you are a working parent. So working from home, might be a brand new transition for a lot of parents. They're used to taking that time and having that really stark separation of their work life and their home life. When there are two different environments there, it's easier to separate those two things. When everything is put into one environment, into the home, it can be really difficult to find a good and healthy balance between the two. So I just wanted to provide here just some really great behavioral science tips when it comes to parenting and working from home. The first one in the top left-hand corner really talks about reducing your attention costs of switching between parent and work identity. It really tries to reinforce that you want to block out those longer stretches of time and avoid that multitasking of going back and forth between the two. Reducing those number of transitions really can help the parent to continue to stay organized during the day. So the next piece is to reframe existing expectations and establish new norms. So these are just ways that you can help change by over-communicating to your team. So just being as transparent about what your needs are, what your schedule looks like, and don't forget to be generous with reminders. Remind yourself, remind your teammates about what's going on with your situation and what your schedule is looking like. And again, just be realistic in your own expectations for yourself. You cannot replace a teacher for 8 hours a day. They can't expect to do that. So just give yourself some grace and be patient because this transition does take time to be able to find a good groove. Next up is plan the play and play the plan. So that just means to go through the plan, really creating a solid routine that you can repeat and have some consistency with. So it's really going to help keep you sane, and it's going to help your child continue to crave that consistency because children love routines. They love knowing what to expect, knowing what's going to be happening. And so doing this can really help in those aspects. And as I would say with any type of parenting, flexibility is an important issue here. When it comes to children, there are plans and then there is reality of what happens. So just keeping that in mind. And then the final piece here are just some extra tips. Motivating yourself to work when you can with temptation bundling. And so temptation bundling is essentially just combining something that you really want with something that you know that you should be doing. So this morning I know I had to do some paperwork. I got myself a Starbucks so that I could be able to complete that paperwork with a little treat. Made the whole experience just a little more positive for me. And then the final piece is incorporate practicing gratitude into another routine. Again, when it comes to parenting, I would say this is a staple as well. Just utilizing those opportunities to be grateful for the things around you. It really is designed to help keep your mood up and stabilized. So with that balance between work and home life, there's time management, and this can be one of the most stress-inducing things to take on, but when it's done successfully, it can truly, truly help find that balance in your life where you are taking enough time for yourself, taking enough time for your other needs, for your friends, as well as for your family. So planning ahead is really a great tool. Time management is the best tool because it is the best way to find balance. The next step is really, you want to have boundaries here, not only for others, but for yourself. So planning, like I said, planning ahead, planning those parenting responsibilities can really ease that pressure and make you feel more organized. Now, one thing that's really important is that time management does require you to say no. Every now and again, it's okay that you had to work late the other day because you can leave early the next day, pick your kiddo up, and maybe get him an ice cream. Flexibility can really make all the difference here when it comes to scheduling routines, homework time, playtime. These are great ways to set reminders for you and your family. So again, things like packing lunches, folding laundry, or picking up a messy room are all things that can be done at night after the children are asleep. Planning ahead to complete a task not only lowers that stress, but increases overall organizational skills and allows you as the parent to know what to expect and to know what is coming as well. So these are some great little tips, just 6 quick pieces for managing your time with the kids. So spend time teaching your children various tasks. I touched on that a little bit when it comes to creating a consistent routine in the home. You want to spend time walking them through those routines before you really try to reinforce those. Again, following up number 2, create that routine, make sure to follow it. No routine is really strong without that consistency and repetition. Keeping a to-do checklist. Children love visual representations and reminders, and I think adults feel the same way. We're all different learners, but sometimes keeping a visual a checklist that we can actually physically check off our tasks as we go through them, that can be really satisfying. And to see those check marks done at the end of the day, again, can be a great form of gratitude for what you've done. Number 4 is to delegate tasks or ask the little ones to help out. Again, it's okay to be structured and to try to have that routine in your home. Flexibility is key, but it's good to be able to tell your children, this is what I expect of you. And don't be afraid to ask your little kiddos to help you out during the day. They truly are just wanting to do everything that you're doing, so you can utilize that as a strength. Number 5, I will definitely touch on this more further into the presentation, but take some time off for pampering yourself. At the beginning, speaking about self-care, this is just such an important and integral piece to being a successful and healthy parent. And then number 6, allocate some playtime with the kids. You set aside time for dentist appointments, you set aside time for homework. It's okay to also set aside time just to play and be goofy. So now I just wanted to provide some ways, these are skills as an adult that you can utilize to help model time management. But I also think this is a great way that you can model it to the children to help them understand and really stick to that routine as well. I think we forget that everything we're doing, our children are observing and noticing, and a lot of our behaviors are modeling what they think behaviors should be. So a great way to start here, if you want to be able to help your child learn about time management while you are also doing the same, is first of all, you want to measure it. Really help the child understand that time can be an abstract concept, and really just figuring out how long a task is going to take. It can be really fun to time them, to try to race your time. That's a great way to play with time while also knowing that and teaching the child that there are restraints between when some activities start and when other activities end. Modeling it. This is the most important piece. If you've got a to-do list that is super long, if you model time management by saying out loud the things that you're going to do and also allowing them to watch you do it, this is a great, fantastic way for them to be able to understand what time management looks like and how you adjust. Now, reinforcing the visual reminders is another great way, and doing that, you can set up a calendar. This is a great opportunity. You can put that up on the fridge for the whole family. It can be monthly or weekly. You can write down important events, due dates, birthdays, and even better, you can just create a smaller schedule that really talks about routines. So you can work backwards from due dates, help them to set aside time for each one and providing rewards. So putting a sticker on that date or on that activity because they were able to complete it successfully. A visual schedule is really a fantastic way, especially if you're trying to create new routines and new behaviors in your home. And the last piece here is to avoid multitasking. I know this is really hard because a lot of people have different thoughts, and some people have more strengths when it comes to being able to do a couple different things at once. But research really does prove that it's not the best for productivity. When you really focus on one thing and focus on one thing fully at a time, it really allows you to be able to stay efficient, essentially, and helping your child be able to eliminate those minor distractions and focus on one task at a time is just a great organizational tool that they'll use later on in life. So I talked about, routine and structure, creating that and keeping it consistent. I'm sure some of you might be wondering, well, how do I even start that? What if there's a new routine that I want to add to my daily schedule? How do I do that? So this is a research-based theory that is all about reinforcing new behaviors, and it's the 3 R's of habit formation. So really, I wanted to provide the example here on the visual, and then I'll also provide an example that makes more sense to parents and families. So the reminder is really going to be, in research, it's called the cue. But the reminder here, we're going to picture ourselves at a traffic light in our car. And the reminder, the cue, is going to be the traffic light turning green, signaling to us, okay, I can go. The routine is the physical action that I'm taking. So that's the habit itself. So I'm going to start driving because I see that green light. And what's my reward there? I see the green light, I start driving. My reward is, hey, I'm a little bit closer to where I need to go than I was before. Now, the importance of the reward here, especially if it's a positive one, you're going to have a desire to repeat that action the next time a reminder pops up. You're going to see that and think, maybe if I do this behavior again, I'll continue to get that reward. So in this case, consistency is key because you want to provide that reward when the behavior is displayed immediately. So a great example for kiddos is a reminder being a audiological cue. So mom saying to the child, we need to clean up our room tonight. We made a mess with our toys and we need to clean up. Now the idea is the routine is the cleaning up itself. That's the habit itself that you want to really re-encourage, is cleaning up your own toys. And now this next piece is the reward. Let's think ice cream maybe. So putting these things together, the child is going to hear the cue of, we need to clean our room and we can have a treat. They're going to have in their mind that if I complete this task, I'm going to get a reward. And that desire to and motivation to do that is going to help them be able to complete that task successfully. And the more that you do this, it'll become really a second nature for your child. So this is a great way to introduce a new behavior. Reward can be a really great way to introduce something new. So next up, when it comes to parental stress, and some of the ways that we can help alleviate that stress is to utilize the support systems that are there around us. Do not be afraid to ask for help. I know sometimes it can seem hard to be able to reach out and you feel like the whole world is on your shoulders and you have to do all these things. But there's always support out there, and just a matter of finding it and figuring out which people you trust in your life is a great way to do this. So from respite care to maybe just a listening ear, having emotional support can really help here. It can be difficult to ask others for help, but remember that nothing can be done alone, and it takes a village to raise a child. So sometimes a friend or a family member doesn't really feel like enough support, and that's okay. It's always a great idea to seek out professional help if it is becoming too difficult to cope with daily life challenges. Mental health professionals can help provide resources that not only are going to benefit you, but your whole family as well. This is a number that comes from Heartline 211, the Reach Out hotline in Oklahoma. This is a great hotline where you can be able to get some advocacy, some emotional support, as well as some resources when it comes to mental health. So the next piece here that is equally as important as all the others is taking a break. We all need and deserve a break. You need breaks from your kiddos to be a good parent. You need breaks from your spouse to be a good partner. These are all part of healthy relationships. It is definitely a proven thing that taking breaks are a healthy way to reduce stress, conflict, and escalation. So whether you step outside for your lunch break or you lock yourself in the bathroom for 5 whole minutes, breaks can come in many, many forms because each person and each parent is going to need their break to look a little bit differently to do what it is intended to do. We can't function at whole capacity without breaks. I want you to think of sleep as more of an unconscious break here. So this little 50 ways to take a break, sometimes when people hear, okay, I need to set up a break, they think of tasks and things that can be harrowing and can be a little bit anxiety inducing. So I just want to remind folks, it can be something as easy as taking deep belly breaths or just stepping outside of your home. Maybe eating your lunch in silence or with your favorite song on in the background. Petting your favorite fur creature. So no high expectations here. You don't need to write a book or complete a really complicated task. Taking a break is going to look different to what's best for you. So I wanted to provide all these different options for being able to just step outside of yourself for a moment. So I really love this visual because I think that when it comes to working parents, we think of professional breaks as just part of our day. And even me myself, I respect those breaks and I take them. I think this is really interesting at work. Someone was going to take their breaks. They're rarely going to work during your break. They're actually going to enjoy that time to be able to eat their lunch and catch up on the phone. This parent can easily shift their focus to break time. When you're working throughout the day, it's easy for some reason, just autopilot, okay, turn it off for my lunchtime and then I'll get back on it. And usually, if in the case that you're not getting enough of a break, you're going to tell your employer and let your supervisor know that you're not getting an adequate break, because that is an important part of the workplace. I do find this so interesting because as a mom, we'll take a break at work without hesitation, but a mom might hesitate to take that break. You rarely work during your break, but moms will go long periods without a true break. We take our breaks at work without even thinking twice, but as a mom, you might feel guilty by taking time away. And when you leave, you're worried about everything. What are your kids doing? Are they safe? Do they need anything? So I just thought this was a great example and a great way to really push through the idea that we need to give ourselves a break from taking a break, and that it might look different at home. It's a lot easier to take those scheduled policy date times in your day than it is when you're at home. Things can get really blurry. So treat it just like your work day. I always like to provide some multimedia into these presentations, and I found a really cute and quick video that talks about some tangible ways that parents can reduce stress during the day.
Let's be honest, parenting isn't always easy. Sometimes arguments, tantrums, or just a messy home can cause us to lose our tempers. Getting frustrated and angry is a part of being human, but we want to make sure that we handle those emotions in a healthy way. There are plenty of simple tricks for calming down even in the face of the most trying toddler. Here are a few. Calming breaths. Breathing is a powerful tool. Our breath helps regulate our emotions and can affect our body as well. When you feel yourself beginning to lose your temper, take a couple of deep belly breaths. Focusing on the movement of the air in your body can offer a distraction, while the rhythm of breathing will slow your heartbeat and leave you clear-headed and ready to handle the situation. Find the root of your emotions. Often when we lose our temper, the problem is not the one toy left on the floor or our child's 100th question. Intense anger comes from bigger feelings of helplessness, fear, or failure. If we find ourselves lashing out over small things, we should look at why we feel so upset. Stress at work, feeling unappreciated, or worrying we are not good enough as parents may be the true culprit. And this knowledge lets us attack the feelings at the source instead of attacking our children or partners. Be willing to apologize. No matter how hard we try, there will be times our anger gets the best of us. If we go too far in yelling at our children, an apology may be in order. Owning our mistakes not only allows us to process our emotions, but also models to our children how to ask forgiveness. Mistakes happen, and apologizing for them is just another way of showing our love and respect to those we care about. To see the rest of our tips on managing parenting stress, visit guilfordhri.org and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
I just thought that was a really cute cartoon visual and just shows some of the ways that stress can rise during the day and the importance of taking time for yourself and allowing yourself to make mistakes as a parent. So as a part of this last piece, I want to be able to help anyone who is looking for the past videos or wants to be able to look for future videos. We were able to create a playlist on the YouTube page for NorthCare. So I just wanted to take a quick second and walk you guys through how to be able to access all of the past recorded sessions. So what I'm going to do I'm just going to type in here in the search, www.youtube.com/NorthCare So it's going to take us to the main page for NorthCare IT, and what I'm going to do is scroll down to created playlists. And here, as you can see, Worry Free Wednesdays with Miss Ellie, you'll go ahead and click on this. And what it's going to do is pull up the playlist of every video that has been completed. They're not all in order, but 1 through 11 are all going to be here. And as soon as I'm done with today's presentation, this one will be posted as well. So this is just a great and simple way to be able to access this material. We will be continuing up with the Worry Free Wednesdays soon. But if you guys have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to us. I did provide some information here. Here's an email address that you can always email us if you have any questions or inquiries about the program or some of the information that we shared, or just about Worry Free Wednesdays in general. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I hope that you all received some beneficial information that you can take home to your families and utilize today. Being a parent is very stressful, add on top of the fact that there's a pandemic going on. And so I just want to commemorate and let all the parents out there know who are questioning their abilities, that you guys are doing your best work and you guys are amazing. This is an unprecedented time. And so just doing your best and sharing that love is the best thing that we can do right now. Thank you guys so much. And I hope you all take care.